Recycling starts and ends at the home. A lot of people like to think that by putting something in their recycling cart, that's the end of the story. And now it's not my problem anymore, it's out of my control. But really, we view that as the beginning of the story. We really want to make sure that the right material gets to the right place. It is not cost effective for us to be moving garbage around that is eventually going to take the scenic route to the landfill. If something is truly landfilled, we need to get it to the landfill as quickly as possible. And hopefully the resident is helping us at the curb, getting things into the right bin.
Glass as a material used in packaging needs to touch a variety of areas that will make the circle. Right, the recycling circle. It starts with you as the consumer. You buy a glass product off the shelf, you consume it or you use it, you throw it in your recycling bin. It's picked up by a hauler, and then it goes to what we call a MRF. It's a material recovery facility. From there, they're going to process all your materials, and the glass is going to come to strategic materials, where the processor will process the glass and get it ready to go back into glass manufacturing. That'll go to our customer. Our customer is a company like Ardagh, who makes new glass bottles. From there, it'll go back to the shelf.
We want to make sure that everybody understands the big picture, and we want them to understand that their critical role that they play in this process by both making purchasing decisions for recycled and recyclable products, and then making sure that the right materials make it into their cart prepared in the right way.
Glass recycling and the recycling industry as a whole has changed quite a bit, because one thing that has happened is we've moved from what we call dual stream or source separated recycling capabilities to single stream. So that means that you as a consumer, you put everything in your bin together typically, and then it's up to the MRF to sort through that.
Yeah, well, we've got a MRF, which is a material recovery facility that processes the commingled recycling, and in our programs we accept recyclable materials from really the 5-state areas, so North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. And in that area, on our acceptable list is glass. So we take glass in at our recycling facility here, and we remove that and clean it up, and then send it off to secondary processors, strategic materials, to process that glass further and bring it to end markets. When we educate the public and the community, we have a lot of messaging around nothing smaller than your fist in the recycling bin. And a lot of that is around preserving the quality of our glass, because a lot of that smaller fraction stuff goes with the glass.
What ends up happening is sometimes people put things in their bin that they shouldn't. We call that contamination. And the contamination makes it very expensive for us to process glass. It makes it very cumbersome for the MRF, and it, in general, makes it harder to recover the materials that we want to. So one common misconception we hear is that glass is okay to be in the landfill because it's an inert material, and it is an inert material. However, it takes well over 4,000 years to fully degrade.
We've invested very heavily in glass cleanup systems for our facility. We've got over $1 million invested into cleaning out the contamination from the glass at this facility. And then after that, it still needs to go to a secondary processor, and they process and remove the remaining contamination that we're not able to remove.
We want our residents to put whole bottles into their cart. Now, we understand that through transportation there is some breakage there, but allowing us to use a glass crusher to break it, we do find that helps reduce contamination. And by pulling it out of the system as quickly as possible, that ensures the most glass is captured in the right spot and doesn't contaminate those other products. And that again makes the economics of the entire system work better.
So we have two primary markets that cullet goes into, and cullet just means it's furnace ready to be used, so it can be color sorted and meeting certain specifications. It'll either go into glass container manufacturing to make new glass containers or new glass bottles, or it'll go into fiberglass insulation. So that pink insulation that goes in between your walls uses up to 70% recycled content in the manufacturing process.
You look at glass, and glass came about around 2,000 years ago. And since then, it's been the preferred packaging materials for food and beverage products around the world. Specifically, we and our customers choose glass for three main reasons. It protects the product and provides excellent shelf life for our customers' product. The second one is it provides the best experience. It is transparent, it allows for the customer product to be showcased, and it also can be made in various different shapes, sizes, and colors, and also provides an ability for decoration if the customer requires to do so. And the third and most important attribute that glass has is that it is the most environmental friendly packaging solution in the world.
Owens Corning is about a $7 billion business operating in 33 countries with 20,000 employees around the world. Glass is fundamental to Owens Corning's business. Over 80 years ago, Owens Corning was founded on the ability to make commercial glass fibers, and that started our insulation and our composites business. And today, many of our products use glass and their properties as fundamental to the core value proposition that we have for our customers.
Oftentimes we get a question on, well, why can't you recycle XYZ? And typically the answer is because there's not that circular economy. We can certainly collect lots of different things, but if nobody's willing to buy it and make something new out of it, that's the piece that's really important. And that's what allows the recycling story to continue.
With the world's aspirations to improve the circularity of our economy and our material systems, glass is a very unique material. And it's unique in the sense that it can be recycled over and over and over again without any degradation in its material properties. That is a very unique characteristic. And if you look at other material systems, they typically do degrade over time, and you have to use sort of less sophisticated or lower requirement applications, where glass can go into the same application over and over again.
The beauty of that is the whole cycle takes between 14 and 25 days. So if you drink a beer in the month of September, you could drink from the same, essentially the same bottle a month later that's been completely rebuilt and remade for you. So it's wonderful in that respect.
Glass is about 80% of our portfolio by weight. Glass is a critical material for Diageo. The technical advantages of glass are that it's strong and it can hold up a lot of load. And because of that, we're able to do things with glass packaging that we can't do with other packaging materials. The other technical advantages of glass is that it's impermeable. It's impermeable to oxygen ingress from the external environment, and it's also impermeable to carbon dioxide loss from a carbonated product inside. Some of Diageo's products are sensitive to oxygen ingress. The product is going to stay stable and enjoyable for much longer in glass packaging. Glass packaging is a clear choice. The right glass packaging with the right closure system is basically airtight, and that product in there is protected from the attack of oxygen on the product until the consumer opens it and enjoys it.
We use recycled glass really because it's good for our planet, but also good for our business. It is good for our planet because the more recycled glass we use, the less ends up in landfills around the world. And for our business, increased recycled content means lower energy uses and also greater CO2 reduction.
As part of using cullet in the production of new glass bottles, it melts at a lower temperature than virgin materials. So you're not only displacing virgin materials, you're also using a recycled material that helps save energy and reduces CO2 emissions.
I give you a simple metric. If we can increase our recyclable cullet into our production process by 10%, that would reduce our CO2 emissions by 5%.
The reason that those materials are so important to have recycled content in them is because they have stated sustainability goals. So when you, as a consumer, are buying a brand off of your shelf in your local supermarket or grocery store, it's because you want to feel good about buying that packaging. You want to know that it's made from recycled content and can be fully recycled when you're done with it.
Diageo has goals around its recycled content in its packaging. That goal is 45% today. So when we go to our glass suppliers, we're asking for recycled content in our glass bottles to meet that goal.
If you look at our system today, we use around 40% of recycled glass in our production process. And this is broadly aligned with the rest of the industry in the US. When we compare it to our peers in Europe, they are at 70%. So we have a lot of room for progress in this area. And as I said before, it is the right thing to do because it's good for our planet and good for our business.
Owens Corning has been focused on glass recycling for many, many years. In the early 1970s, we had essentially zero recycled content in our products. Now we're well over 50%.
But to be able to increase our recycled content, really we need three things. The first one is quality cullet, available all the time, and that economics need to make sense.
The planet is not going to get any bigger. We take things out of the earth and put them in a trash heap. The day's going to come when we're going to have to clean up that trash heap. Much cheaper, much more efficient, much more sustainable to not throw it in a trash heap.
We don't want to have wish cycling, which is putting something in the recycling bin just because you wish it could be recycled, when in reality that's causing more contamination.
It's much better for the planet to find things that can be recycled and have a robust program to recycle them.
If you look at a typical residential cavity in a wall, the batt of insulation that fills that cavity is made from about 6 bottles of beer.
So stuff tastes better, it feels better, it chills better, it heats better, and you can reuse the glass. It's a wonderful way to be. So when you go to the store, choose glass. It's much better for the environment and you're going to enjoy it.